libraries are the main strategy that I teach in the course. It's a way for you to license your music without knowing anybody. And really the beauty of it is you can pretty much set it and forget it. And the hard part is taking the time to submit your music. But once you've done that and uploaded the tracks in a music library, then it's basically all passive income. Okay, let me show you some examples of music libraries. You have Pond5, that's super popular with indie filmmakers. You've got Audio Jungle, super popular with podcasters. DL Music have a bunch of music and reality TV shows in the US. They're an exclusive library, but they're still pretty cool. And you've got Marmoset, who are really into indie bands. So how do music libraries actually work? Well, music libraries are basically websites that have a searchable database for their customers. So someone who's looking for a track for their video, they'll go on a music library like Audio Jungle or SongTrader, and they'll type in a few keywords, and then a bunch of results will show up. They'll listen to a few tracks, pick the ones they need, choose a license, depending on what they need it for, and they'll pay a synchronization fee to the library right there and then. And you get a percentage of the sync fee. So a pretty common deal is you keep 50% of the sync fee and the library keeps 50%. You keep 100% of the writer's share, and the library acts as your publisher and gets 100% of your publisher's share for that particular placement. This is pretty typical. It can vary from one library to another, but that's pretty standard. So who are music libraries good for? They're really great for anyone who's new to licensing. They're a great way to get into licensing, even if you have no connections. And because they're driven by metadata and search. So music libraries really don't care if you know anyone. What they care about is that when someone comes, when your song comes up in their search results, that the customers purchase a license once in a while, that they're happy with the result. So what do you need to get started? As I mentioned, you need 3-4 songs or instrumentals that are fully mixed and mastered. The fully mixed and mastered is super important. And music licensing, you don't, at least not with music libraries, you don't want demos, that it needs to be broadcast quality. It needs to be ready to go. People who go on music libraries, they want the tracks now. They want to use them now. You also need to be able to provide alternative versions. So for example, if you write songs with vocals, you need an instrumental mix. That's super important. And also, if you can deliver 30-second cues, 10-second cues, 60-second cues, that is a huge bonus. It's really almost an obligation if you want to stand out in music libraries. Because if you think about it, if a customer hesitates between you and a competitor, and the competitor provides short cues and alternative versions, but you don't, the competitor is going to win. And you also need a system and a process to keep track of everything, because you'll need to be submitting to a bunch of music libraries. You need to keep track of where your songs are, and who you send them to, who accepted their tracks, who refused them. All right, what is metadata? I've talked about metadata a little bit. So this is how people find your tracks. And in the music library jargon, the metadata is the keywords that, and other information like your PRO number, your CAE number from your performance rights organization. That's all the information that you attach to your track. Now, here I'm going to focus on the keywords. And keywords really need to be relevant and specific so that it drives the right search results, so that your tracks appear at the top of relevant search results. So how do you tag keywords? I mentioned relevant. That doesn't mean spammy. You want to be relevant, not spammy. You want to be specific, not too general. And you want to describe what you have. Make it super easy for someone to picture your music. So for example, if you say a track sounds like a McDonald's or Coca-Cola commercial, everybody can picture what that ad will look like and what the music will sound like in that ad. That's what you're going for. Remember, your customers are not necessarily musicians, so you need to speak their language. Now, let me give you an example from Audio Jungle. So this is a top-selling track in Audio Jungle, and you can see here, $29 is what it costs to licensing, and there have been 10,000 sales of that particular track. So the Morning Light Music actually made $150,000 in sales from just that one track, not counting performance royalties, not counting, how the track was used afterwards. And you can see right from their title that the title includes 3 relevant keywords: upbeat, inspiring, corporate. That says it all. And then you have descriptive keywords on the right here, and you see the maximum number of keywords you can add in Audio Jungle is 30, and Morning Light Music made sure they added 30. So, they took the time to come up with relevant and specific keywords. One of my favorites in there is tutorial, because that's, a YouTuber who's looking for music for their tutorial, it's perfect. Okay. And by the way, this is a non-exclusive track. So Morning Light Music can actually license that same track through other music libraries. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that right now. So music library strategy, I've got really 4 big strategies. Number 1, sign non-exclusive deals, especially if you're just getting started. So what a non-exclusive deal is that when you sign a non-exclusive deal with a music library, what you're doing is you're authorizing that music library to license your song, but it's on a non-exclusive basis. So if you want to license your song directly to a customer, or you want another library to license that song for you, you can do that. As long as you're only signing non-exclusive deal, you can have that song in several marketplaces and several music libraries. That's in contrast to an exclusive deal with a music library, where if you sign over a few songs to an exclusive deal, only that library can place that song for you. And depending on the wording of the contract, sometimes you're not even allowed to get a direct placement to a customer. So, I would avoid those deals as much as possible, especially when you're getting started, because by signing non-exclusive deals, it's basically risk-free for you. Even if the deal doesn't work out, it's fine, because you can always turn to other music libraries. Second strategy, avoid race-to-the-bottom libraries. So what I mean by race-to-the-bottom libraries is all those music libraries that license your tracks for like $1. So remember, the great thing about music licensing is that it's more lucrative than streaming. So we don't want to be pricing ourselves down and getting to that point where we only get $1 for our tracks. That just doesn't make sense. We want to earn a living from our music. So we need to value our music. Otherwise, nobody else will. Number 3, reach out and update your listings regularly. So if you go on music libraries, if you start doing your research into music libraries, you'll notice that very often they put forward the newest tracks prominently on their homepage. So the more new tracks you can send them, even with libraries you're already working with, the better. And also, I recommend that you send to, every time you learn of a new music library, do your research, figure out if you want to work with them, and if you do, submit your music. Because, again, the more songs you have, the more chances you have of earning money. And if your songs are in multiple marketplaces, you're exposed to more customers as well. And number 4, don't be afraid to experiment. So it's like when you're learning an instrument, really. When you start learning an instrument, you practice and you make mistakes and you sing out of tune or whatever, and you keep practicing and you get better at it. It's the same with music licensing. You cannot be paralyzed by the fear of making mistakes, because chances are you will make mistakes, and it's okay, as long as you hedge your bets, and protect yourself, mitigate those risks by signing non-exclusive deals, for example, then you'll be fine.